undo that. I wish you wouldn't make the announcement that's being recorded. But anyway, I want to keep people on their toes. Welcome to Stone Soup Poetry. A lot of new people here tonight. Okay, 3 new people here tonight, but hey, I love it. The looks like John has the capacity for chat, so let John know how you're doing in the chat, and maybe John will do a recitation via text. We'll go with that. Thank you for coming to Stone Soup, our first feature for June. May more to be announced now that I'm no longer camping out and about in transition, and hopefully we'll be making at least more. Hopefully we'll be making at least one more announcement before the end of the week for our feature lineup for June and for the rest, and for a good deal of the rest of summer. I thank everyone's patience in this regard. We all were tuckered out after the 50th anniversary celebration, thanks to people like Dita Delgado, Dita Galloway, Tony B, John Landry, Gary Hicks, and a host of others for making the Stone Soup 50th anniversary possible. And hopefully the second half of our celebration will be live in September. I'm in talks with Tony about possible venues, because with the venue we currently have, or had just before the pandemic, the gallery at the Assemblage Gallery in Boston doesn't have a high capacity level. And I have a feeling we're going to be beyond capacity when we all finally get together. At least that's my big hope. So I wouldn't mind having a place where more than 30 people or more than 20 people can gather in a small place. So we'll see how that goes. And hopefully we'll have those live performances we've been kind of yearning for since all of this started. Thanks to all of you for making this possible. Our feature tonight is J. Barrett Wolf, a man who I have not seen since the early days of the old Highway Poets features. J. Barrett Wolf was one of the Highway Poets features. He's been seen in Oddball, a host of other smaller publications. He is a poet of no small water in his area of upper state New York. We are happy to we are happy to have him here tonight following the open mic, which we're going to get to right now. Our respect for everyone who is here. And a lot of people are joining us from all across the nation, including, we can now add Idaho to Stone Soup's world tour, world virtual tour, however you want to put it. Bill Lewis has had quite an adventure for a person in quarantine. He's become a far-ranging teacher, educator. He has earned his spurs in the new online world post-COVID, which will probably exist in some capacity, just like the Stone Soup Online will exist in some capacity after the pandemic. So congratulations. Congratulations to Bill for having a productive year and for actually getting out and about, finally seeing family. He's calling to us. He's calling to us from Idaho, which is exciting. So we can check off that state of places I've never been, but somehow have done business with. And this is going to be exciting. So let's have the man who's on his national tour now, Mr. Bill Lewis.
Cannon to the left of them, cannon to the right of them, volleyed and thunder. But not one man hesitated. They ran forward into their destiny. Do we do that? How many people do you know have gone back to normal, given up in life? There are people right now still on the streets. How is this possible? How is this possible? Well, what does America mean if we, especially we who called ourselves leftists, leave people on the streets? I am horrified. I've been being a real asshole lately. But that is not for today. Today is for finer poetry. I've been getting very upset, as you can see. What does America mean if we're willing to let people die on our streets? I'm freaking out about this, especially with our leftist policies. Who the hell are we if we leave people on the streets? God, I'm frustrated, but I'm not trying to do that. We who are there have to be there. We have to care about other people. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, as I sat there nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, rapping at my chamber door. "Only this and nothing more." This, I don't remember it all. I don't have any of my notebooks with me, so I'm just going at something nice, something for you. I know. As I passed by his garden, I marked with one eye how the owl and panther were sharing a pie. The panther took the pie crust, the gravy and meat, while the owl got the dish as his share of the treat. With the panther's permission, the owl pocketed the spoon. Oh, darn it. With the panther's permission, the pocketed the spoon, while the panther took the knife and the fork with a growl, and concluded the meal by eating the owl. You know that guy. And one more from the same gentleman. You need Mr. With the other one. How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail and spread the waters of the Nile on every gleaming scale? How happily he seems to smile, how gently spreads his claws and welcomes little fishies in to its gently smiling jaws. I'll let you go to the next one. That's mine for the day.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. It's good hearing from you wherever you are. Hope you're enjoying your stay, your rest, and your work in Idaho. We're going to move now to Jen Rowe, who I hope is available.
She's here.
Excellent.
Here I am. This is from the weekly at the Black Seed Writers every Tuesday, 9:30 to 11 in the St. Paul's Crypt downstairs, Broad Hall. And then these get into a quarterly, mostly homeless folks. I didn't go there with this to recopy. Something from a previous weekly sparked it. It's called Patent the Sun. Patent the Sun. When Pennsylvania relaxed its adoption laws, I found my real paternal grandfather, and that my paternal grandfather died of tuberculosis when my dad was 2. My dad's great-grandparents died of TB in 1895 and 1911. Because of polio, the generation before me, they weren't allowed to swim in the Monongahela River in late summer. I received the polio vaccine as a child. The creator, Dr. Jonas Salk, said trying to patent the polio vaccine would be like patenting the sun. We could go to the river in August. The DPT, diphtheria, pertussis. Now the pertussis is the whooping cough. I had whooping cough as a small child. Dorchester Avenue. I had whooping cough as a small child. My family thought I was going to die. Don't know if I'm immune. Now, tetanus in the DPT is for lockjaw. Henry David Thoreau, Walden Pond, his brother died of lockjaw, tetanus, paralysis of the respiratory system. During genealogy, I ordered a death certificate. Turned out not to be an ancestor, but was a 19-year-old John Tate in Northern England, died of lockjaw, respiratory arrest. And that's Pat in the Sun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jan. And let's see who we have next. Yes, one of the people to join us by phone. One of the people who've been with us nearly from the start and has been not participating not just on Stone Soup events, but also the Boston Poetry Marathon, which took place last summer for the first time ever. So it's time for us to welcome. Let me make sure she is unmuted, because in this unique relationship by phone, only I can do that. So now you are unmuted, Carol Weston. The mic is yours.
Thank you. Let's see. The British poet George Barker. Well, I found in his notebook I was supposed to bring it to America where it was going to be sold. And I found the line, when do I expect a telegram from Azraphel, angel of death? So I kept that on my closet door. And out of it came this poem, Azraphel. Hands around her neck, I have come to introduce you to death, Azraphel said. Hold your hands tighter so I can see my destiny, she said. In my pocket, I carry fossil whale's inner ear for balance and jasper to represent the floor of heaven. I who cannot speak call through infinity, and my voice echoes up the stairway to heaven. Azraphel, angel of death, protect me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. That was fantastic. And we're going to move on to another one of our people from outside of Boston who are nice enough to join in. Mr. Philip Curtis, aka Midnight, is a working poet, meaning he's probably listening to this while he's working. But we just love him all the more for that. We're not the most safe for work, but we'll do okay. And it'd be great to hear you tonight, sir.
I'm really behind the schedule and stuff. I'll do a haiku or two.
Sounds good.
Flick dime at homeless. Vet says, please keep your money. All I want is change. Let me think. Good Lord, I'm drawing blanks.
Until you blinked, I thought the computer froze.
Oh, wow.
You were lost in thought there for a second, but we love it.
Okay, let me go again. Man serves his country. Detached mind comes back wounded. Homeless activist. And I'll do one more. Oh, say can you see what the Army did to me? Post-traumatic stress.
Thank you, Philip J. Curtis, aka Midnight. Let's see who we have.
Thank you, Chad.
Let's see who else we have in our ranks tonight for the open mic before we introduce J. Barrett Wolf. And thanks to everyone who has come even just to listen. I think we're going to get, hopefully we'll get a couple more people who said they were trying to join in. But we already have people plenty, so let's get to them. Let's go to Miss Nancy Dotson. When she presses *6, she can unmute herself. And it's been a week or so since we've seen her, so it's good to have her back. Welcome, Nancy.
Humid hot. The wind blew mightily, probably insane. The wind exists not in a sound world. The moisture creates hottest day of all. The temperature bounced a mere 100 degrees at the fall. Sleeping was out as its humidity was in. The high 70s was so. My eyes swelled sleepy with wake up for me. Come wind, blow mightily. Tomorrow and cool be on its way. I love the day when the wind blows mighty, plus comfort every day.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Again, welcome back. Let's see, who else? Oh yes, up next on the open mic, we're gonna have a little musical interlude, and we may even hear from him later if the open micer after him chooses to collaborate again. But for now, let's get our interlude from the man I call the Pulse of Stone Soup and the Pulse of Boston, really, because he lends his musical talents to as many people, venues, and outlets as he can. It's Ethan Meckler, everybody.
Back to you, Chad.
Thank you, Mr. Daddy Meckler. I promise that won't be a regular nickname of mine I use for you. Let's welcome up next. He's back after a 1 week absence. He has been busy. He's busy prepping for his next free speech forum installment, which I believe is coming up this weekend. He will gladly tell you all a little bit about it, I'm sure, before his reading, and share links with you in the chat section of the Zoom call. So let us welcome up. Oh, and also, I don't think I mentioned this in the formal presentations here, but it does note to saying that I recently put in a recent full performance of I believe a feature he did back in 2011, 2013, maybe it was 2010. I think it was the for the 39th or 40th anniversary of Stone Soup, and this man performed that, and it was actually the first time I had seen him perform, and I was so lucky that Bill Pearl caught a DVD of that and gave me a copy, and that I was actually able to get it ripped and put onto YouTube. So I should put a link to that in the comment chat section here. But for now, let's welcome CC Shagra up and see what he's going to do today.
Thank you very much. That was quite the surprise, and the gentleman that was next to me was Dennis Sullivan, and he was responsible for my first poet art band called CCR Shagra and the Say. But then I left to live on the other coast, but we did manage to record one song before that happened. It was a song of their choice, and I ended up playing piano for the first time in that feature. So that was a blast from the playing and singing, all original, 4 or 5 poetry and then music. So I was deeply moved by that. And speaking of deeply moved, I don't know, I guess some of you know, some of you don't, but it's been the last 3 weeks of my life have been wrapped up in losing my younger brother of 52 years old. And it's been quite the wild ride. And it may or may not affect the Sunday event. It's only every second Sunday, but if I get enough feedback in the next, say, 24 hours where I want to do it, I am going to pull it off. Either way, I'll show up and we'll go over the principles of involvement, because it is an open microphone hybrid. It is something new and people are not used to it. So having said all that, for the 6th time since the pandemic, I started another manuscript. And this one actually came to me in a dream with the title looking like that, Alone with All, and then Alone with All subtly thing. And these are poems that I've written in relationship to my brother passing. And I'm going to just do 2 little ones. The second one was actually about when I saw him very shortly after he died. And this is number 3. Doubt ends as the moment arriving, as if also already transpired, as your true soul being confidence. No recovery is needed, for esteem now never suffered. Here comes the next thought, to be you are not depression. And my brother had a laugh and an infectious personality, and he was a ball of light where there wasn't a lot of light throughout his life. He had a profound wake. The funeral guy said that he'd never seen anything like it hardly in his entire career there, and people just showed up for 4 hours because they made a 2-hour mistake, so we had a 4-hour wake, and the parking lot was full, the room was full, and people didn't leave. And his fiance made an amazing video, which is on my webpage. I hope you all go see that and get a glimpse of what it's like to be born, live, and die, and leave a lot of light in the world. And this is number 14, and about finding my brother. To see your brother's body lifeless. I've not been here with death before. My heart was soaring to protect him with a promise made to kiss him goodbye. I held his hand in mine still warm. The evening heat blew through the door. Strange it was that nothing sad about his body mattered. And to this day, and I think forever, what happened next transcended real. He was not gone. There was no time, no floor, no room, no house, no ceiling, not even people, ground, or sky. Perhaps there are no words to say this, no object, symbol, sound, or thing. What I felt came out as tears fall, and totally indescribable, except to say my brother here was everything and everywhere and all and nothing missing. And a poem doesn't go anywhere near what that was what that was like. But I've had spiritual and experiences in my life and moments that transcend reality as we know it, and that clearly hits that benchmark. It was like the whole world was crying, and nothing wasn't him. And yet his body was, I thought I was going to be freaked out by that. And instead that overwhelmed it. It was pretty amazing. And I hope if anyone ever here ever loses anyone, you don't have a toxic member in your family that can come and really rip people's grieving apart with just like a china in a bull shop going for things and greed and money and just crap. I pray to you, you never have to deal with a family member like that. It is relentless, and it's sick and it's toxic, and I wish that would stop, but that's life. His name was Michael Darren Sestouli. He's only 52 years old, and thank you for listening. And I'll put the other stuff in the chat. And thank you, Chad, again for that introduction.
Thank you, CC. And I did put the Stone Soup feature from. Looks like it was actually just 1 year. It was the 39th anniversary celebration, May 3rd, 2010. And I would love to get a New Year's Eve celebration that you did. That one seems to have been lost to us, and I should reach out to Bill Perot's family to see if there's any semblance of that recording around. Otherwise, I might have to solicit the archives of.
Are you saying Bill is gone? I didn't.
He's not gone, but he's not been part of Stone Soup for a while.
Oh, okay.
He's kind of, he's kind of been resting,
Distant?
for lack of a better word. So
all right, maybe if you can give me his number, I'll reach out to him.
that sounds good. And hopefully I know his sister's on. I know his daughter's online, so I can hopefully reach through her as well.
I'll help you do that. Thank you.
And moving on to the final person on the open mic. I appreciate everyone who came on tonight and everyone who's listening. I've been getting some well wishes from people who can't make it tonight. Some people are fighting to keep cool. It's not an easy night. It hasn't been an easy few days to get through the heat here in Boston and New England in general. The East Coast just basically sucks right now. So if you guys are keeping cool, more power to you. But this person is our penultimate closer for Stone Soup. He is the columnist at Oddball Magazine. Check that out at oddballmagazine.com. Check out his column, It's All One Thing, which is published every Thursday morning without fail at 11 o'clock in the morning, 11 a.m. Let's welcome up Mr. James Van Looy.
Thank you, Chad. So I have a piece here called The End of Enclosure, Death Cult Meets Death. And it has some quotations in it from a book called The Religion and the Rise of Capitalism by R.H. Tawney. And they're pretty self-explanatory, I think. But it's kind of for Bill because of what Bill wrote and talked about. It took a long time to get here. So, there's religion and the rise of capitalism and the, quote, genial Harrison, unquote, late Elizabethan saying, at whose hands shall the blood of these men be required, stating plain the claim of the poor on all of us, that is the commons, the great society, when less than a century later, after the restoration of the monarchy, when the policy became in Puritan parlance, to surround the right to relief with obstacles and to give it when it could no longer be avoided in a workhouse or house of correction, and for the rest to increase the demand for labor by reducing wages. And I also remembering that as I worked in modern day poorhouse that we call shelters for 10 years, which sandwiched 4 years in lower, slower Delaware in group homes for developmentally disabled, deinstitutionalized, from one of the old plantation work farms for the least of these, doing personal care and future plans for those so long sent away, only to return to the city to work again in the shelters, expanding all the initial emergency of Reagan years until it was openly being documented that it costs more to provide homeless services on the streets than it would to provide housing with staffing if necessary, not to absorb the cost of shelters and emergency care on the streets for all those who refuse to concede to be consigned to a cot. And now for, of course, the shelters and the prisons and the mass incarceration, actually the genocidal drug war on the people of color and dissidents, people like me always, who I have been living with always, but especially since drafted. And yes, the shelters were, of course, full of those veterans from all the wars, but also especially from Vietnam. When I started there in 1986, and when I left in 2000, I was still getting poems at my workshops from vets at those shelters who tended to write about anything except the institutional mess wrought again and again by small governments, so small indeed that vital relief just dwindles away and leaves so many of the people living in tents and trailers and parks, infrastructure of septic tanks and satellite dishes, this short, tenuous existence where you better not apply for any slight aid from draconian dragon called transitional assistance, this welfare, this isn't, this way of life that never works, even as all you do is work, where you, yes, you, must be sacrificing babies at satanic orgies if you're not homeschooling your fundamentalist version of decades of life cut off in a past that never existed called a culture of life, with industrial strength nitrate water and pest herbicide drifting down from the busy, buzzing, roaring crop dusters. And let me sing you a little song. The Tennessee Waltz. I was waltzing with my darling to the Tennessee Waltz when an old friend I happened to see. I introduced him to my loved one, and while they were dancing, my friend stole my sweetheart from me. I remember the night and the Tennessee Waltz, and I know just how much I have lost. Yes, I lost my little darling on the night they were playing the beautiful Tennessee Waltz. The beautiful Tennessee Waltz. Thanks, guys. Oh.
Thank you so much, James. And thanks to everyone who's been here as part of the open mic. Thanks to everyone who's been listening. And we're going to introduce our feature poet. And hopefully, as I said, by the end of this week, I'll be announcing our feature for June 16th. And hopefully I have someone for the end of, at least someone for the end of June, and a very special guest, two very special guests for the month of July, both returning, both Path features, both poets who have been here before, but haven't been here in a long time, but it would be great to have them back, especially for particular for the month of July. More on that as I'm able to say. But for now, we do have our feature, and I do want to remind anyone who's here for the first time or here for the first time in a long time, we do meet every Wednesday night from 7 to 9. This will be ongoing until the foreseeable end of live shows for Stone Soup. We're going a little longer than others to keep safe for a lot of our more immunocompromised members and participants. So if we're lucky, September will be the time we meet again, which will be appropriate as Stone Soup was founded in by Jack Powers, who was born in the month of September. So if we couldn't do it during the actual, if we couldn't get together during the actual anniversary date of when Stone Soup started, which was May 1st, 1971, we did have several live shows, but hopefully we'll be able to get together on Jack's birthday month. for now, we do have these meets, and we thank you for spreading the word and for coming when you can. And we thank J. Barrett Wolf for being tonight's feature. For those of you who haven't heard from him before, Jay, surely you must remember his time from the Highway Poets. I'm sure he had like 1,000 nicknames just from from Peddler Bridges himself.
I'm still in touch with Peddler and some of the other Highway Poets. The Highway Poets were the International Association of Published Bikers.
Yes.
And we, at one point, put out a volume, Rubber Side Down, the Biker Poet Anthology, which was edited by our late friend Joe Gouveia, poet from Cape Cod. And there is some discussion going on now of a second volume. Shiny Side Up would be the second one.
I wish you luck with that.
Thank you.
But Jay Barrett currently lives in Binghamton, New York, where he's the poet in residence at the Bundy Museum of History and Art. He's also the director at WordPlace, the Southern Tier Literary Center. He's been published in addition to Rubberside Down, Black Bear Review, Portland Review of the Arts, Long Island Sounds, Writing Outside the Lines, and he was also on the Connecticut Touring Poetry roster. And moreover, he holds the Bronze Medal of Valor from the San Francisco Police Department. Jay Barrett's been around. I've always enjoyed his poetry whenever I've got to hear it. And I've got, in some cases where I've been able to publish it, i.e. during our tributes for the late Joe Gouveia years ago, which I'm very grateful for. So let us have me shut up now, and let's all of you put your hands together 10 to 15 times for Mr. Wolf.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to head right into it here. The appendage police came the other day and threatened to confiscate my hands. They said I was writing subversive songs and anti-status quo articles and screw the system poetry. They told me to straighten up and fly right, because after all, they knew what was good for me, and how would I like to go around with no hands to write or eat or touch with? Later, the brain police arrived and told me to stop having subversive anti-status quo, screw the system thoughts. They offered me an all-expense-paid surgical procedure that would help me fit in with the rest of their designer world. Just wait, they said. If you don't come around, you'll be sorry. We can adjust those little gray cells of yours and you'll be just fine. After that, the emotion police showed up and suggested very strongly that I stop caring about war and poverty and spirituality and making the world a better place. They implored me to work hard and make more money. Then they told me to stop hurting so much for what could be and accept the world for what it is. They said they had these chemicals that they would make me happy all the time. When the sex police pulled up, I slipped out a window and left town. We've been talking quite a bit about homeless people. This is a very old poem of mine, several decades at least. It's called I Am Not Homeless. I am not homeless. There is a number on my door, a roommate, cat, quilt, desk, sofa, spray bottles under the sink. I am not homeless. On the train, initiated, showing my monthly ticket to the guard. I am not homeless. At my desk, in the office, expected to talk, beg, bring in the business, give them the business, business as usual, or get the hell out. I am not homeless. In a world of obligation, scrambling to pay rent, electricity, gas, oil, phone, commutation, food, food, food. I am not homeless unless I am expected to feel at home. Thank you. This is called At the Bookstore. I hang around the romance aisle to no avail. When I give up waiting for that eminently rippable bodice, I round the corner to the travel section, but that's as far as it goes. I am not transported to the Casbah. I take account of myself in economics, attempt to rewrite the past in an aisle called New History. Picture myself in the photography section, avoid medical literature on the advice of my doctor, trip over my feet in the wine and spirits aisle, regain my composure in the self-help section, while in the end, I try not to take things literally. I am in large part inspired by Pablo Neruda's work. I always was seeking a voice until I read his work. And then it was like, yes, I can speak in a way that I want to. This is called Borderline Magic. Your shy red dress and dangling earrings speak poems as if they were prayers to an invisible God who tossed meter and rhyme to the wind in favor of listing every third-degree burn on the inside of your skin. This alone is enough to make me love you, despite the canyon of decades across which I gaze. Nothing I can do or say could melt us together into a peanut butter cup of joy. On the other hand, being ensorcelled isn't so bad, really. It adds the taste of enchantment, a spice not found on every menu. I don't know what I'd do if there was suddenly an alternative universe full of you. Of course, it would have to be a tropical island. Little umbrella drinks, copies of Neruda's 20 love poems, your back arching against a chaise longue, the wicked innocence of your dark eyes, naming my breathless anticipation of worlds we do not know. The key. I have wished for many things. You in a little black dress and heels against the wall, moaning. A wish that didn't come true. They say it's about timing. I am a pendulum swung too far. There was no subtlety in my arrival, landing as I did again on this island, unprepared to be overtaken by your sultry fire. My blind, doting hunger, nearly tone deaf to your rhythm or rhyme. I could not move slowly enough, deftly enough to share your days without compressing them into a silvered box with colored ribbon, thinking I was offering joy. The difference between bracelets and handcuffs isn't all that shine. It's who holds the key. You know all these stories they tell you about librarians? They're true. This is called Courting the Librarian. I want to read the poem you are. Stroke your soft, hard paragraphs. Leave pundits' kisses sharp on your subject, beneath your predicate. Split your infinitive, draw panting breath inspired by your dangling participles. Creep softly around your adjectival phrase and be consumed by your free verse.
Wow, wow. Couldn't resist.
That was a lot of fun to write. I got an interesting opportunity to read poems in a boxing ring in Paterson, New Jersey. I forget the name of the place, but it's a famous boxing practice boxing place. And we did a collective reading there. My friends from Voices of Poetry, Neil Silverberg and Silverblatt, sorry, and a bunch of other people did a reading called Poetry with the Gloves Off. And he wanted me to write, oops, I lost it. He wanted me to write a piece specifically for that event. And I had to, I'm hunting for it because I just closed it by mistake. Okay. And I had to write something for this event because I'd never written a bloody word about boxing before. Come on, computer, do what I tell you.
Stick and move, stick and move.
Yeah, really. Shit, come on. It's really embarrassing when this kind of thing happens, except that I know where that is. There it is. Okay. Gotcha, little bastard. Okay, and I had to write a piece, and weirdly enough, the week before I was supposed to read, my apartment got robbed. And that was the genesis of a piece that combines local history here with that event. And that resulted in a poem called Wishing for a Fight. And it is about a boxer by the name of Joseph Paul Zakuskas, who was known as Jack Sharkey, the Boston Gob. And just for your information in the poem, there is a restaurant in town called Sharky's. It isn't actually related to him, but the two things just were there, so I worked with it. Wishing for a fight. The house is empty like something dead, no longer at home in its body. I left the back door unlocked as I sometimes do. The thief stole in through the useless portal. All of life is a preamble to disappearance. My father's ring is gone. A piggy bank full of pennies, a backpack, 6 beers, nothing that can't be replaced in time or forgotten enough to move onward. Nothing to be done. Vengeance is not mine, I say. Though a right cross to the cheek might satisfy, at least as much as consigning this event to oblivion. I live in the town where Jack Sharkey was born. There's still a restaurant that bears his name. Almost a century ago, he fought them all, Dempsey and Lewis, Schmeling and Carnera. You win some, you lose some. And he did. Heavyweight champ in 32, knocked out in the sixth in 33. He fought for sport, for the money, to be remembered. Just now, I wonder if Jack ever fought for revenge, ever wished to heel, tow, bob, and weave for the questionable honor of giving back some inkling of pain, of loss. I wonder whether the Boston gob ever swung from the shoulder for a chance to regain his father's ring.
Nice.
Thank you. This is called A Little Something. She knows a little something about longing, standing there in the piano bar with a tall, cool glass of, oh my God, please, setting a spark to the maybe this time heat reflected in her eyes. It's been quite a while, and it's a long tick-tock walk in heels to a cold car. She's insulated with stoli, an attitude, and a writer's commitment to swim the river Styx and retrieve the damn coins herself if she has to. She knows a little something about longing, that fire-breathing desire that brews in the gut and moves inevitably south to where she's a stone's throw from lowering her standards. But she tried that once, and there are still some scars that ache when it's cold. I'm going to close this set. If I can figure out where I tossed that. Reading from good old-fashioned paper. I'm going to read one of the highway poet biker poetry poems. I'll close with that. This was actually Joe and I coming back from Boston to the Cape one night, late at night, and it's just, the moon is out and it's just us on the road. It's called Boston Moon, and the epigraph is from Sami Te of Uganda, who said, "No one can tell you that you've had enough moon." Boston Moon. On a warm midsummer evening, I ride the 60 or so miles back from Boston, playing tag with a blood-red moon. Dark at first, hanging in the trees, it wavers, disappears, leaves a tint of slate and indigo blooming on the spaces between each whisper of cloud. The heat of the day leaves me grateful for these cool and cautious miles that unfurl before my lights. Behind is the call and response of fuel-burned thunder, the throaty drone of 40s technology, and a sense of being borne through space beneath the silver orb as it rises, returning, brightening, wheat, bisque, pale ivory. A futile attempt to drive back the darkness, keep the night, then the morning at bay. Now the full, soft lunar face seems to write my path in soft grain flax and azure horizon, the painted hyphenation of concrete panels. How much is there to dream in this soft tunnel of wind? Oceans of air drafting hard through the leather helmet straps, singing me into a trance, coiled backdrop against which flow remembered moments. I so wanted to love you with your brown silver hair. Raven chestnut cascading like a Category 5 train wreck over your shoulders and down your back. And I wish I had the guts to be the guy with the guts and not the guy writing through the night with a pen and paper. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you. Let them hear it.
Thank you, thank you.
Non-compliance. Bravo, bravo.
Did you say non-compliant?
Yes.
Damn straight. Okay, that's now become in my top 3 possibilities for a tattoo.
There you go. There you go.
Oh. Comments, questions, observations, random thoughts, anything.
How do you feel? How do you feel about poets staying united through these times?
I'm sorry about poets
Staying united through these times, I think.
Times of
I think
our species is on the cusp of coming together, and yet this process is on the cusp of dividing us as a human family.
Well,
what's a biker got to say about that? One big.
Oh, you got to remember, I'm in a biker club. I mean, you know, we had jackets made. I think it's sort of geographically, it's different in different places. We have a very nice community here in this area in Binghamton of poets who get together and read and share. We have critiquing groups. We're opening the Literary Center, I think, in something between 2 and 4 weeks. And we're going to be doing adult literacy, children's literacy, poetry readings. We're going to bring people in from out of town, probably have some publications. We're tied in with a low power FM radio station here at the museum. So we're able to do shows that are not just local here, but to the whole town we can broadcast. Plus, of course, the internet. And we have relationships with other places so that when we are able to do large events, we've got venues here also. So poets here are working together, and we have a very supportive and loving community of poets here.
How do we stay in touch with that?
Good question.
Well, there's several different ways of doing that. Since I'm starting this literary center, you have to understand this literary center is happening because I walked into the museum one day and said, "Hi, I have this idea for a literary center for the Southern Tier," because there isn't one. And they said, "Oh, okay, let's do that." And they proceeded to gut a house that they bought, and I have an apartment there, and there's a literary center downstairs.
Wow.
They made this happen.
I'm there. I love self-taught.
At this point, I don't have the machinations together. Like, there isn't a mailing list yet because I don't have an office yet, and I don't have a phone yet. So all of that's going to come together, and then people can get tied in, and we can start doing stuff. We've had plans for ages to have troops of people come and do readings here, and we'll send people from here, to wherever you are, and we'll read there. But I want to make sure that we're doing good work for everybody. So we're going to do literacy. We're going to try and do things that support vets, education in the community, underserved communities, all of that we hope to have happening. Also, we're putting poetry on the buses. We have 40 buses in a bus system here, and we're going to do that. That's in the grand tradition of poetry on the subway that they did in New York years and years ago.
And they're doing it on the Poetry on the T in Boston as well.
Yeah,
so
I remember seeing poetry on the T also. And I think our biggest project is going to be the banned bookmobile. We are getting a small bus. We are going to stock it with books that have been banned from the American Library Association's list. And we're going to go out and do talks on censorship book banning, the history, First Amendment, the history of bookmobiles, because we've had bookmobiles of one sort or another here for 100 years in this area.
You
So
gotta
we're
include the Kerouac documentary, Who Owns Jack Kerouac? That's banned even by the Kerouac Foundation.
I'm sorry, say again.
Who Owns Jack Kerouac? The
It's a
documentary.
Uh-huh.
Jack Shay's documentary about Kerouac.
I have not heard of that, but I'm sure it exists.
It's banned from the internet. I got a VHS of it. I got to get it to you.
It's banned from the, it can't be, you mean it cannot be acquired?
It's locked up. It's a longer story from right now, but yeah.
Okay, I can look it up online. I suspect that'll be there. So not the documentary, but the information about it.
No, it's very hard to find. It's been wiped. It's pretty powerful what's behind that. It's a longer story. It has to do with a lawsuit that went all the way to the Supreme Court about the will being forged. Yeah, it's a long story. Sampis and
so whoever owns the rights. Yeah, whoever has the rights.
Maybe not for now, because I don't want to tie up this beautiful wrap up here. But yeah, my email is in the chat, so save it. Send me an email and we'll follow through. Love what you're doing, all of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Impressive.
Any other questions, comments?
Go on.
Was your performance in the boxing ring captured on video at all?
I think it was actually. I mean, it wasn't just me. There were a half dozen of us. At something.
Can we not just reach out his hand and help one person off the street?
I can check. One of the things I recommend to poets is I am a member of the Facebook group Voices of Poetry. It has got 9,400 members. It was started by a man who is now a friend of mine. And they don't do events so much as they work with people to do events all around. They've been doing events everywhere from New York City to Boston to Cape Cod, all up and down the Eastern Seaboard. We're going to do some Voices of Poetry events here in Binghamton. And it's always a group of somewhere between 3 and 5 poets.
Are you an admin to that group?
No, I'm not. I should actually ask Neil they've got people handling that. But if you go there and ask to go in, they'll let you in. There isn't any, it's not one of those ones where they want to know your shoe size in order for you to get in.
Is that Neil from Connecticut?
From Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Neil Silverblatt from Massachusetts.
Right. I've seen him.
He started it and it got out of hand really quick and became this amazing group of thousands and thousands of people.
How's he doing? He had some health issues for a while.
He is still battling cancer and currently he's still winning.
Excellent. Tell him CCR Chagra said hi.
Okay. But I recommend being a party to that because that gets you a lot of I posted this in there. So you get some play because it's national.
Nice.
I encourage you to share any information you have, and if there's a way we can donate, usually I offer people to send in their Cash App or their Venmo apps or Venmo addresses if you want to donate money. But if you have a place where we could donate and help make this happen even faster, just
that's the easy way is unless I am mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
They were setting up the donation system. Okay, what's happening is the Literary Center is being financially sponsored by the Bundy Museum.
Mm-hmm.
What that translates into is you donate to the Bundy and tell them it's for the Literary Center. So either you can just go to the Bundy page and there should be a donate link there, or else we have to slap our web guy around again. And there should be an option of telling them specifically it's for the Literary Center. You're welcome to make donations. They are tax deductible. The band bookmobile is going to be a crowdfund because I think between you and me, doing something like that that addresses censorship, First Amendment, freedom of speech, that's a national issue. And when I talked to the American Library Association and told them what I was doing, they were all sorts of ecstatic and wanted to know, this is pre-COVID, wanted to know if the bus would be ready to bring it to their national meeting in Michigan or wherever the hell it was going to be, because that thrilled them. So I think their support can come from many quarters in this. And I think it's going to be a great fundraiser to run the Lit Center, because it would be swell if I could be on salary. Right now, I'm just doing it to do it. I am not being paid to do it. And the museum is kindly doing lots of construction and providing lots of things so that it happens.
I did put the link to the museum in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh,
Thank you.
Well,
Mr.
Wolf, thank you very much for the information. I'll definitely disseminate this to the group tomorrow.
I'm going to be able to give you more. I'll be able to put more stuff where people can find it as we get it created, until I have a phone number and get exactly the process for donating, organized with the museum. I don't have anything hard to tell, except that you can donate to the museum and tell them it's for the Lit Center, and they'll do that. Everybody here is ridiculously supportive and cool. This is the kind of people who they're doing construction on a place that I'm not paying them to build, and come to me and ask if I want to choose paint colors and carpeting.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so they're really, really supportive here.
Wow.
Living the dream, sir, and we wish you luck.
Yeah, and this is, you
love.
can absolutely make shit happen just by asking. All I did was literally walk in the door and go, I have this idea about this. And they looked at me and went, yup. And that was it. And from there, and that's amazing. It's an amazing little universe here. And I'm hoping that we can make this into a Lit Center that is really regional and beyond. I want to be able to bring in, top 10 national level poets to read here. I mean, we've got a college with 17,000 students.
Ron Whitehead just got beat Poet of the United States.
Uh-huh.
And he's got a documentary coming out that he was going to release a little while ago. I've been in touch with him.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get him up this way. It's called The Outlaw Poet. He's been working on it.
Interesting. Have you seen the documentary about Jimmy Santiago Baca?
No.
Yeah, he's a poet. Came out of prison. Went into prison as a gang member. Came out a poet. Got published a bunch. He's a really good poet, and there's a documentary that's been done about him. He's another one I'd love to get out, but he's out in the Southwest. So, one of the problems is people are not so anxious to travel yet. So for a while, people are not going to be going long distances. One of the nice things is the museum people are so cool. I have an apartment and we have a spare bedroom that is dedicated to when we book people to come and do events. We have a room for them so we don't have to put them in hotels, and they stay as part of the Bundy. Mm. So it's a really cool relationship. They're really supportive. I want to find a way to transmit that energy so that people come out and support it, because it's such a good place, because it's an incubator for community.
And the town and the state this is in?
Binghamton, New York.
Okay, that's where you are, right? Okay, yeah.
Right. The crossroads of I-17, Route 17, which is 86, which is a major east-west road, and Interstate 81 north-south. So you can get everywhere in the Northeast from here. I can go to Philadelphia in 3 hours. I can go to New York in 3 hours. I can go to Chicago in 4.5, 5 hours. So it's a really central location for the Northeast. And it's a place where if you're going somewhere, doing much in the way of east, west, north, south, chances are you'll pass by.
I gotta get my CDL turned back on so I can drive the band to bookmobile. I'm loving that.
Nice.
Yeah, we're pretty happy about that idea. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you, all of you, every last one of you.
Thank you, sir. And we will definitely keep in touch with this. And before we go, I tried to incorporate everyone who wanted to read, but we usually have one latecomer. So I wanted to ask her, Miss ES, that's how she's known, if she wanted to read tonight. But I think she may. Oh, there you are.
Okay. I'll read a short one. This is from a series of poems on personality types. This one's The Perfectionist.
Close this out.
Everything was in its place, and every place was within something else, and it was sound and it was good. Chaos, even, had its calculatable role. Anarchy, reduced to neatness, was a smile with perfectly aligned teeth.
Very nice. Thank you so much, ES. And with that, we're going to close out for tonight. And thanks once again to J. Barrett Wolf for a fantastic reading. I can't wait till this goes online on YouTube from my personal channel. And of course, this will be able to be viewed later on tonight via the live stream link on the Stone Soup Poetry Facebook page. And we'll definitely keep abreast of your project, sir. And we'll definitely make donations when we can.
Much appreciated. Thank you all. Appreciate your attention.
And the work you've done is very inspiring, just as and what your collaborators have done is also, gives me hope for when we finally open up and figure out what's going to happen around here in the Boston poetry.
Around here, we call them unindicted co-conspirators.
There you go. Love that. Oh gosh. So we'll do the obligatory wave as we say goodbye tonight for Stone Soup. More information coming.
Tasty bananas.
And take care of yourselves, everyone. Take care of someone else. And we'll see you next time. The show's over. We hope you all go well, go home and in peace, as Father Conley used to say at my St. Blaise church. And can't wait to hear the playback of this.
Thank you,
Take care of yourselves.
Thank you. Thank you all.